We all have prescription drugs and alcohol, of course, in cabinets in our homes. And with our kids on spring break, perhaps at home with nothing to do but just look through cabinets, this could lead to trouble. Joining us to tell us a little bit more about how to keeping our kids safe. We talk about kids. These are college kids. The CEO of Confidential Recovery, Scott Silverman. Scott, good to see you again.
Good seeing you, Carlos.
All right, so it never occurred to me that when kids come back from school, that they might be rustling through my cabinets to look for prescription drugs.
Well, and not necessarily.
Why would they do that?
You know, it's interesting right now with this opiate pandemic across the country and the conversations at school. And you know, I understand just a couple of years ago at my daughter's alma mater at U of A, there was a couple of 19-year-olds that OD'd on opiates. So what happens is they come home, they don't have the resources, if you will, or they know that there's resources in mom and dad's cabinets. And right now, you know, we talked about this before. In 2015, 264 million prescriptions written in our country. Well, probably 2/3 of that, if it wasn't used, is sitting in medicine cabinets in people's homes right now. So the caution is to tell families, look, take that medication, whether it's Vicodin or opiates or other mood-altering substances, or if you're not sure, and put it in a bag and lock it up in a safe, just like you would your jewelry or your money or potentially a gun, because those kind of things can hurt others if they don't know what they're doing. And opiates are very expensive now. Right now, an 80-milligram tablet of an opiate on the streets, if you will, OxyContin, is $80. So nothing else to create money to buy other things like heroin.
All right, so you named OxyContin. Tell me about which are the most common drugs that you would find in a medicine cabinet?
Well, you know, OxyContin obviously is given for pain. You've got Vicodin in there, you've got Valium, you've got sleep medication, you've got stimulants, you may even have Adderall that your child used years ago that you put away, keep thinking that maybe they might need it again. So just go through your medicine cabinet, you know, just like you would your jewelry or money or a weapon, and secure it. You know, your kids are coming home, you know, they don't necessarily know, and they, oh, you know, it's free drugs. And it's not necessarily a conscious thought or a plan, but, you know, let's eliminate that, because maybe we can save a life over spring break.
Will the kids take this stuff and mix it?
Oh, sure. I mean, right now we're seeing this fentanyl and heroin, you know, that's killing people across the country. They're mixing drugs. They're experimenting, because right now people want to do whatever they can to kind of get as high as they can, you know, and obviously with the legalization of marijuana, the experimentation's on the rise now at every level, especially with young people, and that's when the real impact of change can happen, when people start getting addicted that early.
And will they do that with pills and alcohol together?
Well, alcohol, technically, it's legal, and they're in the bars. If they're 21 or over, they're going to be out drinking, or they're going to get beer from friends, and so you put those two cocktails together, you're impaired when you're driving, and there'll be sobriety checkpoints out there, of course, during the holiday with all of our first responders. But why not do it differently this year? And as a parent, try to maybe eliminate or diminish the opportunity by simply securing those kind of things, like the liquor cabinet, if you will. But, you know, we don't want to follow our kids around. I was a drive-by parent. We've talked about this in the past, and I want my kids to be safe, and I want them to live a long time. And I want to dance at their wedding, and I want to watch my grandkids grow up one day.
It's hard to, you know, because kids just have such a short, you know, the windows of concentration. They go, it's spring break, I'm just going to go to the beach and get drunk, and that's what all I want to do is get drunk, and if I can find some drugs, I'm going to find some drugs, and then go back to school.
Exactly.
Why? I mean, that's kind of the way we think when we're young. We don't really think long term. And it's up to us to tell them, right, that your life goes beyond college.
Right, and I really suggest that what parents do is when you sit and talk with your kids, rather than just tell them, have the conversation. You know, how are things at school? You know, don't just say, how many of your friends are doing, you know, medications
but what if
right
they
now?
say to you, Scott, and I know they have, but Dad, you did this.
Right.
What's the difference? Why can you do it and I can't?
That's a great question. You know what? That's why I say, you know, when you say to somebody, no, you can't do something, it usually triggers something in their head, motivates them. You know, in our generation, you know, we were in high school, you know, we were doing stuff. We won't get into details because I don't want to get you in trouble again.
Okay.
But we know that people do that. So I think rather than telling people what not to do, even though you did it, is share with them what's going on in your world, talk with them as human beings, try to have them set their phone down for a couple of minutes, look them in the eye and go, how's school? How are things? What are your plans? How can I support you this week while you're home? And maybe we'll hang out a little bit, go to the zoo, go to the park, go to the beach together, and we'll reconnect in a way, because they've been gone physically for a few months. So, you know, that physical connection, that emotional connection, I think sometimes you don't even have to ask the specific question, because when you do, you're triggering things. So what happens is, I think in today's world, there's so much information about it. You know, we're reading about these opiate overdoses on a daily basis across the country. Kids want to experiment, and then if you're sitting with peers, that peer pressure comes up too. At the beach,
Yeah.
oh man, we can't drink at the beach anymore. It don't matter. Here you go. I've got some Oxy.
Yeah, we got it.
And all of a sudden, you're taking half a tablet, and you're not yourself for the next 24 hours.
Well, of course, reinforcing love is important, as you pointed out.
Oh yeah, and if families don't know what to do, you know, it's funny. We have a broken car, we'll call the mechanic. You know, they can call us at Confidential Recovery, and if we can answer questions, you know me, I'm online all the time.
Yeah,
Rather than go into a situation, ask for help. I'm talking to the families now, because they may ask the right question, and maybe we can get that child some support or guidance or answer a question. Sure beats the alternative.
Scott, thanks so much. Appreciate that advice.
for
and
having
hope
me.
everyone will listen to it.
Yeah, me too.
All right, as we continue here on Good Morning San Diego, Saquon will bring